So on your back, you could have your knees bent and your feet planted. Your knees might rest against one another. And then depending on how your back body is feeling on the ground, sometimes you might consider a little or a blanket or slight lift for the head. I find that sometimes it's difficult to draw the chin slightly towards the chest and lengthen the back of the neck unless the head is a bit lifted. So if that's the case, feel free to just slide something underneath it. And then try to just kind of feel that back body on the ground. So begin with the back of your hips and that sacrum, and notice how that is grounded. Notice the left side, the right side, see if you can even things out a bit. And then notice your lower back. So chances are there's a little space there between lower back and the mat. That's fine. Find a neutral pelvis here. So you might need to go a bit back and forth between tilting the pelvis forward as if you were trying to flatten your sacrum, your tailbone to the mat, and you'll feel your lower back lift off the ground. And then slightly tuck the tailbone towards or between your legs as if you were lengthening your sacrum onto the mat, and feel your lower back come closer to the mat. And then find a place in between. So your sacrum is planted, but there might be some space between lower back and mat. And your hands could rest on your belly. And then just find a breath here. Find the movement of your breath under your hands. You might make that breath a bit more obvious. The movement might become a bit more obvious too. And then let your hands come up to your rib cage. And then feel your breath here in your ribs. And here in your rib cage, look for a 3-dimensional breath. So not only up and down, but side to side. And think also about lengthening. So ribs moving away from one another and then towards one another. Take a couple more cycles of breath. And then bring one hand to your chest and one hand back to your belly. And then notice the movement from all the way from the chest down to the belly as you breathe in and as you breathe out. And then from here, open your arms out into a T. You could do also cactus arms. And we're going to window shield wiper those legs. So as you're ready, take your knees over towards the left on your exhale. And then back through center and over towards the right. And pairing that movement with your breath. So as you inhale, those knees come back through center. They might touch. As you exhale, you let them lower to one side. And you might add some movement through the neck. So as your knees go over to the right, your gaze goes over to the left. And then to the other side. And moving back and forth a few more times, just awakening those hips, those legs, that torso, that neck. And then the next time that your knees come back through center, bring them both into your chest. Your hands can come around your shins or behind your thighs. And just give yourself a squeeze, rock from side to side. And then draw yourself back through center. Your knees are drawing towards your chest. And then see if you can lift your forehead towards those knees. And as you lift your forehead, your shoulder blades come off the mat. Try to keep your face relaxed. Take a breath in. And take a breath out. And then if your head was lifted, lower it back down. Bring your right knee into your chest. And then extend your left leg towards the ceiling. And then find some rotation through your left ankle in one direction, maybe a wiggle of your toes, and then in the other. And then pause that rotation and flex through your ankle or flex through your toes, whatever you prefer to do, but find some action through that left leg. And we're going to keep it extended. We're going to lift and lower it. And as you lift and lower it, you want to try and keep your sacrum, your pelvis really stable. So don't let your sacrum lift and lower off the mat as you do this. So when you're ready, take a breath in. Exhale and lower that left leg to hover over the ground. And then inhale, keeping your pelvis stable, lift that left leg up. And then again, exhale and lower. Inhale and lift. Slow controlled movement. Exhale to lower. Inhale to lift. Bring that thigh as close to your belly as you can without lifting that sacrum. Exhale and lower. And inhale to lift. The next time that your leg is lifted, pause there. Take a breath in. And then exhale, bend that knee and switch. So your hands come around your left shin or behind it. And then your right leg is going to go all the way up towards the ceiling. Find some rotation through your right ankle. And then again, just check with that right side of the sacrum, the back of your pelvis, and make sure it stays grounded. Switch direction. And then pause that rotation. Again, find action through your right leg. Flex the ankle or at the toes. Take a breath in. And then on your exhale, slow and controlled, right leg hovers over the ground. And then inhale and lift. Then nice job. Exhale and lower. And a few more times at your own pace. Notice if there's the tendency of that pelvis to move, that sacrum to lift. And see if you can only take the leg as far as you can keep your sacrum planted. So your pelvis is not really moving. It's all about that hip flexor, that right hamstring. And then the next time that your right leg is lifted, pause there for a moment. Take a breath in. Take a breath out. And then bend that right knee and both knees into your chest. Bring one hand onto each knee and find separate circles. One direction. And then switch direction. And then those knees are going to come back in and we're preparing for a bridge pose. So plant your feet more or less hip width, ankles more or less under those knees, and then your hands are coming by your side, palms are facing down. Before we come up, bring awareness to the action of your arms against the ground. So you want to put weight into those arms, your forearms, your elbows, and slightly draw the shoulder blades towards each other. Gaze down the midline and then press into those heels to lift those hips up. Pausing here. Again, notice the work in your arms. Push down through those shoulders. Breathing in and breathing out. One more here. Inhale. And then on your exhale, slow and controlled, lower those hips back to the mat. We're going to come back into a bridge pose, but this time we're going to walk the feet a little further forward. And then instead of being on the whole foot, we're going to come onto the heels. Okay, so your ankles are going to be in front of your knees. Arms are still by your side, using your arms, and now press into your heels and lift your hips. And then pausing here. So as the heels walk away, you'll have to work a bit more through the hamstrings. So see if you can feel that, but just be sure not to overdo so you don't trigger any cramps. Take another breath in. And then on your exhale, gently and slowly lower those hips back to the ground. From here, plant your left foot and bring your right knee into your chest. Without using your arms, get your thigh as close to your belly as you can, and then see if you can straighten your right leg. So your right leg is going to be as close as you can to your chest. Your left foot stays where it is on the ground. Okay, so left knee is bent, left foot is planted, and the right leg is coming in towards us. Now you're using that right hip flexor quite a bit here. Keep your sacrum, your pelvis down. Take a breath in, push out through that right heel. And then on your exhale, bend that knee and plant the right foot next to the left. Going to do the same thing with the left. So again, that right foot stays down, and then we bring that left knee in towards the chest and bring it as close as you can without using your hands. And then once you've got that thigh and belly as close together as you can, extend that left knee as much as is available, pushing out through the heel. And again, notice if your left sacrum, the left side, lifted some, try to press it down. Breathing in and breathing out. One more here, breath in. And then on your exhale, bend that left knee and plant your left foot. Open up your arms into a T, bring your feet a little wider, knees stay bent, and again, window wiper legs, drop them to the left, back through center, and drop them to the right, and center, and one more time each side, and center, and over to the other side, and center. Nice. Arms come again by your side. We're coming back into a bridge, but we're going to take it a little further. So see if you can walk your feet a little further away from you again. So a little bit more than you were before. Your heels are planted, the soles of the feet are lifted, toes towards your shins. Use your arms, shoulder blade to shoulder blade, and when you're ready, push into those heels and lift those hips. Pausing here. Breath in, breath out. Couple more breaths, see if you can lift a little higher. And one more inhale. And exhale slowly. Once again, let those hips come back to the mat. Plant your left foot and extend your right leg all the way up towards the ceiling, bringing that right thigh as close to your belly as you can. So again, flexion through that right hip, stretch through that hamstring, but active. You're not using your hands to pull that leg in. You're using the strength in your hip flexor. Another full inhale. And exhale, bend that right knee, plant your right foot next to your left, and then bring that left, extend that left leg, and bring that left leg in towards you as close as is available without lifting the hips. Breath in, and a breath out. One more here. And then as you exhale, bend that left knee, plant your left foot, and now let's bring both knees into the chest, using your hands. So rocking a bit from side to side, give a bit of a massage to that back body. Maybe an open mouth exhale. That was quite a bit of work for the backs of the legs. So there might be some remnant sensation there. One more breath. And then from here, we're going to make our way up into a seat. So your hands could come behind your thighs, get a little bit of momentum, maybe some moments of balance on your sit bones as you roll forward and back. And then the next time that you find yourself on your sit bones, we'll find a seat. So we'll find actually a seat. The left knee will be bent and the right leg is going to come out to the side. Both sit bones are well planted. And we're going to find some rotation from the core, from the waist. So we're going to start with the hands close to the chest. You could interlace your fingers and have them next, right near you. And then begin to rotate. So think about your torso going over that right thigh and then forward and then over that left thigh and then back up. And then a few like that. And try to keep your pelvis really stable, your hips stable on the ground, and your right leg active. So you're pushing down through your right heel, and your right toes are drawing towards you. And then switch direction, your hands still close to your chest. And think about the movement originating at your waist. And then begin to send your arms a little further away from you. So you're bringing a bit more weight away from the center of the body. So it's a bit more of a demand on that core. And then switch direction again. And see if you can get your chest kind of to just hover over the ground as you go from right to left and left to right. And then maybe your arms, you'll release your hands, and your arms now are going as far away from you as you can. So as you go over your right leg, your fingers reach beyond those right toes. And then switch direction. And again, make the movement as big as is available to you, but keeping that grounding through your hips, your sit bones, and your legs. And in this circling, the next time that your torso is over your right thigh, pause there, but don't grab onto anything. So keep reaching. So again, still very, very active. And then reach a bit more through your right fingers. So see if you can feel that pull through the right side of the body. And then reach a bit more through your left fingers and now definitely feel that stretch through the left side of your waist. Take another breath, keep reaching, still active here, you're not dropping hands. Breath out. And then with your next inhale, rising all the way up. If it feels good, reach your arms overhead. And on your exhale, release those arms down by your side. And now we're going to switch sides. So without using your hands, see if you can bend your right knee and then extend your left leg all the way out to the side. Okay. So we're going to do the same thing, so same exploration. And again, try to make the movement happen from your hips. So don't get distracted with the movement of your arms. Okay, make sure that your torso is moving. So from your waist, right? So that's kind of where it's all coming from. And stay connected to that core, that center. So when you're ready, hands stay close to the body and begin to explore on this side. And you can go as slow as you want here, slow and controlled, better, so you're not using momentum too much. And with the hands closed, you might then switch direction. And notice how it helps if you push down through that left heel, through your left sit bone, so your legs stay strong. And that will allow your upper body to move with a bit more control. And then you could go in opposite direction as you begin to free up your arms. Allow them to reach a little bit more. And notice how that feels. There's that weight going away from you, but also there's that action that might help, so arms are energized and then switching direction. And now maybe reaching as far as you can with your arms, hovering that chest over the ground as you go from side to side. And then eventually, the next time that you're over that left thigh, pausing there, but again, reaching. And then see if you can reach a bit more through those left fingers. So that left arm goes a little longer. And then reach more through the right fingers and feel that stretch through the right side of your waist. Still very active through that core. Take another breath in. Another breath out, strong through legs. And then with your next inhale, come all the way up. And again, if it feels good, reach your arms tall. And as you exhale, lower those arms all the way down by your side. And then bend that left knee. Find a comfortable seat, maybe a cross-legged seat. And then allow your hands to rest on your thighs. And for a moment, close your eyes and just notice how things feel in the body right now. Maybe you need to catch your breath. That could be quite a bit of work. See if you can even out again your inhales and exhales. And then find a lengthened spine. Maybe eyes stay closed or open, and then drop the chin to your chest. Space in the back of the neck. Take a full breath in. And exhale your left ear towards left shoulder as you find a stretch through the right side of your neck. Bring the chin back through center. And then right ear to right shoulder, left side stretch. And then again back through center. Left ear, left shoulder. And back through center. And right ear to right shoulder. And then the chin will come back through center. The arms will reach tall, breath in. And then on your exhale, right arm down, side stretch. Maybe a little bend into that right elbow. Go a little further. Maybe you find a push through that right hand. Inhale, back through center. And exhale, take it to the other side. And same things here. Bend in the elbow, a push through that left hand. Come back through center on your inhale and twisting towards the right hand behind us and left hand crossing over. Keep your spine lifted, keep your chest broad. Take a breath in and take a breath out. On your inhale, returning through center, arms can lift and then twisting to your other side as you exhale. Again, a breath in and a breath out. And last one here, breathing in and breathing out. As you inhale, torso comes back through center, arms could lift, and on your exhale, let's make our way into table pose, hands in front of us. You might be able to roll over those knees, or you might come to your side, and then eventually make your way to hands and knees, hands under shoulders, and knees more or less under those hips. As you breathe in, drop the belly, chest comes forward, gaze up, and exhale, round your spine, push the floor away, chin towards your chest. 2 more times, breathing in and breathing out. And inhale and exhale. And then neutral spine, walk your hands a little forward, tuck your toes, give your toes a little push against the mat, and then float those knees off the mat and all the way into downward facing dog. Allow the head to drop, the neck to relax. Push the floor away with your hands. Allow your heels to drop heavy towards the mat. Remember, in your down dog, a bend in the knees can be really helpful. Think about your belly drawing towards your thighs. So hamstrings might be already quite stretched, so your down dog might feel a little bit, you can go a little deeper than other times at the beginning of practice. Take another inhale. And another exhale. Last one here. And then use your next breath in to walk your hands towards your feet. Coming to the back of the mat, we'll meet in a forward fold. Hold on to opposite elbows. Take a full breath in. And then on your exhale, bend into your right knee. Rest your right ribs towards that right thigh, maybe even just resting on the thigh. Left leg is working towards straight. And then bend into your left knee, left ribs towards the left thigh, and straightening the right leg. And then you could do one more on each side, bending into the right, and then bending into the left. And then with your next inhale, bend into both knees, bring your hands to your hips, chin to your chest, and rise all the way up to stand. We're meeting in mountain pose at the back of the mat. Arms come down by your side, palms are facing forward, crown of the head is reaching tall. As you breathe in, arms lift. On your breath out, right arm down and side stretch. Inhale, come back through center. Exhale and over to the other side. Inhale back through center. Interlace those fingers overhead. Turn the palms towards the ceiling. Give yourself a good stretch here. And if you feel up to it, lift your heels. Take a breath. And then on your exhale, heels lower, arms lower, and we're folding all the way forward and down. On your inhale, walk your hands to the top of the mat, coming into a plank pose. Pause there for a moment, maybe shift a bit from side to side, front to back, maybe even some circles over those wrists. Remember to press down through the finger pads. Switch direction if you're doing circles. And then come back through center, take another breath in. And with your exhale, sit bones up and back. And we'll find downward facing dog. Pushing the mat away, breathing in and breathing out. With your next inhale, those feet are going to come to the top of the mat. You could walk them or you could hop them. It's up to you. Once you're there, halfway lift and exhale to fold. Inhale, bend into your knees, chair pose, arms lift. And on your exhale, bring hands to your heart, interlace your fingers and rotate those wrists in one direction. And rotate them in the other. Releasing those wrists with your inhale, reach your arms tall, straighten those legs. And on your exhale, left arm down, side stretch. Back through center, breathing in. Over to the other side, breathing out. Back through center, interlace or find the opposite interlace of those fingers. Turn the palms towards the ceiling. And again, another opportunity to stretch the whole body. Maybe to play around with your balance, coming up onto the balls of the feet. Breathing in. And breathing out. And then gently releasing those heels, arms go wide, forward fold on your exhale. Halfway lift, inhale. And now as you exhale, plant your hands and step your left foot to the back of the mat. So you're coming into a low lunge here. So if you've got your blocks available, your blocks under your hands might be helpful. First, let's make it quite an active lunge. So think about your back heel pushing back. But you also are on the ball of the foot, so don't go too far back. And then squeeze your left glute. And imagine that you are trying to draw the front heel towards the back toes. So as much as you've got your legs moving away from one another, you've also got that action of drawing them towards each other. So that's what will keep you in place and strong. And then think about another thing to think about, right? Sorry. Think about that back, the back of the back knee going up rather than collapsing down. So that will also activate that back leg. Suddenly this lunge became quite a bit more exhausting. Take a couple more breaths. Try to keep ease in the face. One more inhale. And then use your next exhale to gently lower that back knee down. Maybe you stay with your toes tucked or untucked, whatever works best for you. And then let's find a low lunge here. So hands could stay where they're at, or if you're comfortable bringing them to your thigh, you can bring them to that right thigh, interlacing your fingers. And then if they're on the thigh, you could push the thigh away to lift. But now here, be cautious about just dropping into that lower back. So as you push the thigh away, think about lift, not only going back. Think about lifting as if you were lifting away from that thigh. Keep squeezing through that left glute. Full breath in. And a full breath out. So quite a deep hip flexor stretch on that left side. And then let's release those hands down, and we're going into a half split. So we're going to send those hips back, extend through your right leg, and then make any adjustments here so that you can lengthen your front leg, and you've got your left hip more or less over your left knee. Hands on blocks, another good idea. Walking the hands a bit closer, also a good idea. And then drawing that right hip back as you push your left hip forward, drawing the toes towards the shin, pressing down through that right heel, and then looking for more or less a neutral spine. And we're going to rotate through that right hip. So it's going to look like your toes going left to right, but try not to make that rotation come only from your ankle, right? So try to make it come all the way from the femur bone, the thigh bone in the hip socket. So when you're ready, taking the toes towards the left and then towards the right. And not shifting your hips around. So it's just that femur bone rotating in that hip socket. So it might not look like a lot, but see if you can feel how it stretches a little bit differently into the back of the leg. And keep that breath going. And then the next time that your toes are pointing up again towards the ceiling, pause there, give that extra pull through that right hip, press that right heel down. And then we're going to find a bit of a twist here. So keeping your hips and your legs just as they are, your left hand is going to come over towards the right side and just walk them kind of to the right and back. Any amount that will allow your hips to stay and your legs to stay just as they were. Breathing in and breathing out. A couple more breaths here. And then let's bring ourselves back through center, framing that front leg once again, and then bending into that front knee, tucking your back toes, lifting that back knee. Your hands are forward, and then let's step that back foot forward all the way to meet the right. Halfway lift on your inhale, and exhale and fold. In your forward fold, you could hold opposite elbows, and let's just check in, notice if there are differences in sensation between your legs. And then bring hands to your hips and slowly unroll the spine, coming all the way up to stand. Mountain pose once again, your arms down by your side, crown of the head reaching tall. Take a breath in, reach your arms overhead. And then on your exhale, right hand around your left wrist, and this time pull that wrist, give it a bit of a stretch first, and then take it all the way over towards the right side. Inhale, come back through center. And switching sides. So again, right wrist gets a bit of a stretch with the left hand, and then we get the stretch to go all the way down the right side of the body. And then bring yourself back through center. Take your arms wide, find a bend in those knees, and fold forward. halfway lift on your inhale. And as you exhale, we're going straight to the other side. So plant your hands, and now it's your right leg that's going to step to the back of the mat. So you're first finding your really active lunge. So even if your hands are on the ground or on your blocks, you're not putting that much weight into them. You're kind of wanting your legs to do the work. You could even play at any point, with just kind of floating the hands off the ground and not changing anything else. Okay, so you want to really activate that right glute. So squeeze, you want to push back through that right heel, and then think about that, the back of the right knee lifting up. And then think about your front heel drawing back towards your back toes. Just notice all that work there. And if I kind of really do it, like my voice, it's difficult to talk. Okay, we'll stay for 3 cycles of breath, keeping that spine long and the face soft. 2 more. Breathing in. Breathing out. And 1 more breath in. And breath out. Nice work. And then from here, when you're ready, lowering that back knee. And then we'll find our low lunge. So knee down, and now option of staying here or bringing the hands to your thigh. You can interlace those fingers. Palms are going to push the thigh away. You choose here if your toes are tucked or untucked. And then think about, as you push your thigh away, about not collapsing into that lower back. So your right glute is still squeezing, and you're keeping space in the lower back. It's more the belly is moving away from that thigh. Full breath in. And a full breath out. Shoulders down, face relaxed. 1 more. And then let's release those hands down. And we're coming into our half splits on this side. So straightening through the front leg. If you need to slide that front foot a little further forward, you could do that. Get your right knee more or less under your right hip, and your hips level, right side to side. And then right away, drawing those toes towards your shin, pushing that left heel down. And remember, a little bend in the knee is perfectly good idea. Okay, so you still get a lot of stretch, and you can, and it's, a lot of times better rather than too much stretch in the back of the knee. So as you draw your left hip back, you push your left heel down, take a breath in, take a breath out, and then begin to explore that rotation on this side. So those toes might turn towards the left any amount, and then towards the right. And then making sure that movement is coming from rotation in your hip. And then you'll feel a bit of a different sensation in your left hamstring. And one side might be more prone to sensation than the other. And making sure you're not forcing the knee into any position that is not a good one for it. So again, rotation is not coming from knee, it's coming from the hips. So the fact that the knee is turning or facing different directions is because of that rotation through your hip joint. And then the next time that your toes, your knee are pointing up, let's pause there, take a full breath in, take a full breath out. And then let's bring that right hand over to the left side, so finding a bit of a twist here without changing the position of your legs. So you might need to do a little bit more work in drawing that left hip back because it might want to kind of go forward. And then see if you can find that space in the right side of your waist. Full breath in. And full breath out. Relax the jaw. And then bringing those hands back, framing that front foot and bending into that front knee. This might feel nice. And then we'll lift that back knee and step that back foot all the way to the top of the mat. Both feet more or less hip width and fold forward. You could hold on to opposite elbows for a moment here, dropping the head. Maybe a little sway forward and back, side to side. And just tuning in, noticing again any sensations or different sensations between the legs. And with a little bend in those knees, bring your hands to your hips and unroll the spine. We'll come all the way up to stand. Mountain pose at the top of the mat. Arms come by your side. Maybe close your eyes. Tuning back into that breath. And then eyes open if they were closed. Reach your arms overhead. Another opportunity for balance here. Palm to palm or touching or facing one another. See if you can come onto the balls of the feet. Steady your breath and your gaze. And we're going to begin to bend those knees and lower those sit bones towards the heels. So go as far as is available to you. You might get all the way and still be on the balls of the feet with the sit bones on the heels. Maybe you plant your hands. And then you might reach your arms in front of you and see if you can lower your heels without lowering your sit bones. So all this is quite challenging and depends a lot on ankle mobility. So again, don't worry if it's not happening. But if you're still with your sit bones lifted, see if with control you can lower those sit bones all the way onto the mat and you'll find yourself in a seat. Bring the soles of the feet together, the knees go wide. Your hands could come around your ankles or your shins and then take a full breath in, shoulders away from ears, chest broad. And on your exhale, as your knees go down, your chest goes forward and down. Maybe the head drops. Maybe your hands walk forward, so release your ankles. Maybe an open mouth exhale here. And then walk your hands back towards you, lifting that spine. Bring your feet up, bring your knees up, your feet planted, and let's come all the way down onto our back. So there'll be an opportunity here to hold for a little bit, so a little bit of core work. So if you're coming down slowly, your arms reach forward and keep your arms reaching the whole way and keep your chin tucked towards your chest. And then begin to lower your lower back. And then your mid-back and pause. So your shoulder blades and head are still lifted off the ground. Now from here, see if you can draw your right knee into your chest and then extend your right leg all the way up towards the ceiling. Get your thigh as close to your chest, to your belly, your head as close to your shin as you can. Breathing in. And then exhale, bend the knee and plant the foot. Same thing with the left side. Shoulder blades and head are still lifted. Draw that thigh in and extend the leg. Keep reaching through those fingers. Chin towards the chest. Breathing in. Exhale, bend that knee and plant your left foot. One more breath here. Take an inhale. And then on your exhale, slowly upper back and head to the mat. Maybe an open mouth exhale to release. And then when you're ready, you could bring your knees into your chest and rock from side to side. And then coming into a reclined twist. So again, a few options here. Option of dropping the knees straight over towards the left. That would be option 1. Option 2, crossing the right thigh over the left thigh and then dropping the knees towards the left. Remember, here you could have a block or a pillow on your left side, so it brings the floor a little higher and it allows your legs to rest on something if the floor feels a bit too far away. See if you can keep your chest open towards the ceiling, and no worries about your right shoulder blade. It might be off the ground, that's fine. Give yourself a couple of breaths. And then as you're ready, coming back through center, going straight over to the other side. If you had the knees together, if you had the legs cross the left thigh over the right, and then take those knees over towards the right side. And again, if you were using a block or a pillow, make sure you've got it on this side too. And you might find that you need it more on one side than the other, that there's a bit more rotation available on one side, in one direction than the other. You could also see that happening depending on the space between your shoulder blade and the ground. You'll find just a few breaths. And then making your way back through center. Taking your time, unwind the legs if you had them crossed. And then once again, give yourself a bit of a rock from side to side. If it feels good to circle those knees, you could do that. And then bring yourself back through center. Last suggestion here, keeping that flexion through your hips, your back body grounded, extend your legs up towards the ceiling. Maybe rotate through your ankles. Support your legs with your arms, with your hands, or send your arms also towards the ceiling and find some rotation through your wrists. You can do this with your eyes closed, beginning to find a bit more release, more softness in the body. Allow gravity to draw down through your arms and down through your legs to ground your shoulders and your hips. You could find now some stillness here, allowing your fingers to curl, a little bend in your elbows and your knees. And then eventually lowering those arms and legs and finding Shavasana, so finding a position that will allow you to rest for these last moments of practice. And whatever that is, knees bent, legs long, arms by your side or hands on your belly. Allow the body to be supported and take advantage of that support and really lean into it. There's nothing else to do right now. And then bring your attention back to your breath. You feel the movement and the sound of your breath. And then allow that breath to guide a little movement back into the body. And taking your time to move in any way that feels good to you. Taking any stretches through the body, any wiggles. And then in whatever way feels right, let's find ourselves in a comfortable seat. The hands resting on the lap or the hands coming together at the chest. That spine growing tall, the shoulders relaxed, the face relaxed. Acknowledging the practice, acknowledging ourselves for practicing, acknowledging those who practice with us at any time, acknowledging all those that make it possible. We'll end with a word that means that the light in me recognizes and honors the light in you. Namaste.